vacation is here. Beach party tonight.
Buongiorno beaches, it's me Marty here bringing you the wholesome ass content you are craving. So we haven't watched a movie in a while. Clothes are coming off, people are coming out, and what better way to celebrate the waning months of summer than by taking a trip to the beach. I'm already there though. I don't know why the beach is so wrinkly. The last few times we went to the beach, Lana Turner was killed and Joan Crawford seriously needed to moisturize. But we're going to take a happier trip to the beach with everyone's favorite non-enslaved Musketeer, Annette Funicello, and local Philadelphia icon Frankie Avalon. The idea for the beach party movies was farted into existence after Sam Aroff and Jim Nicholson watched an Italian film that took place at the beach. I don't know which one, but if it's an Italian film, it's just probably about doing it because that's what all Italian films are about. Italian people love to do it. These films were produced by American International Pictures. AIP usually emphasize teenagers in their films, so that's who the main audience for this is. They're a pretty decent audience to target because at that time, when the film was released in 1963, being a teenager was still a relatively new concept. There's actually a really good video on the history of being a teenager, and I will link it down below if you're interested. AIP would subtly emphasize sex and sexuality in their films. This movie was released in 1963 and would go on to chart out multiple sequels. Beach Party was directed by William Asher, who some may know as the director for I Love Lucy. Gosh, what a downgrade. Like, imagine going from I Love Lucy to this. Now, in full disclosure, I have a natural bias towards liking these movies for two reasons and two reasons alone. Not one, but two Italians in a Hollywood-produced film in leading roles that is not about organized crime. We kind of don't get roles like this. Like, even when Joe Pesci isn't in a Martin Scorsese film, he's still a criminal. Annette Funicello started off her career as a wholesome Musketeer, which meant Walt Disney himself had to approve her being in these films. And he would only approve her being in these films if she did not wear a skimpy swimsuit. Which is why all of the other girls in this movie are in string bikinis and she's in like the latest tarp fashions. Her image had to be maintained. Work that pole, girl. Frankie Avalon at this point in his life is a newlywed, and he's still trying to maintain his teeny bopper image. He would go on to have 8 children. I told you Italian people love doing it. All of these movies have a formula. Frankie and Annette head to the beach, and instead of going there and having a wonderful summer, they make each other jealous for no reason. There's always a subplot and a special guest star, along with a musical guest star and a comedic guest star. In this particular movie, the comedic relief is going to be provided by Maury Amsterdam, who is famous in my own life for being Buddy Sorrell on the Dick Van Dyke Show. The musical guest is going to be Dick Dale, and the special guest, who has no bearing on the actual plot, not that there is a plot, is going to be Vincent Price. We open with Frankie and Annette singing a little ditty about going to the beach in a totally realistic car drive. That's actually where I'm filming, it's the same set. So Frankie and Annette are about wanting to dry hump, but when they go inside, Frankie stumbles on all of his 30-year-old teenage friends, who Dee Dee invited. Oh, by the way, Annette's name in this movie is Dee Dee. Frankie is still Frankie, though. He probably couldn't remember to answer to any other name. Psych, I'm kidding. I make fun of this movie, but I actually really enjoy it. And when I talk about Frankie, I'm talking about the character, not Frankie Avalon himself, who is like a local treasure. My boo actually met him and said that he was incredibly nice. So the entire gang was invited there by Dee Dee, who basically is trying to ensure she won't be a teen mom.
Well, you know it's more fun with the whole gang.
Not what I had in mind.
Frankie is so vanilla. And we cut to the beach where Frankie's taking his sexual frustrations out on his surfboard. We get a montage of people who actually can surf, and I can't lie, I think they're incredible. I've never tried surfing before. It looks really difficult, and I'm particularly impressed by this duo's interpretation of an aquatic human centipede. We cut to Professor, an epic beard owner, Professor Oro Sutwell, spying on the teenagers. Professor Sutwell is played by Bob Cummings, and he's joined by his assistant Mary Ann, played by Dorothy Malone. What a vampy name, right? Dorothy Malone. He says he is there to study the teenagers.
Here, take a look, please.
Oh, not me. I blush easily. I'm a Philadelphia girl.
Hey, shout out to Philly. Nobody says that about us, though.
By the way, how do you like this title? The behavior pattern of the young adult and its relation to primitive tribes.
I've got a shorter title.
What's that?
Teenage Sex.
I have a longer title. I'm Chris Hansen, and this is Dateline NBC. We get a super long montage of the teenagers dancing until their quaaludes kick in. Much like a bag of Lay's chips, this movie is mostly air filler, very little chip. Frankie tells his homies he's gonna make Dee Dee jealous by dating a waitress. We cut to Big Daddy's dive bar where Guido Pirate is playing a sick drum beat. Maury Amsterdam plays Cappy, named after the fact that he's the only person on the beach who's circumcised. He runs the dive bar. He gives this really funny ode to a man named Big Daddy who is passed out and apparently lives in the dive bar. Frankie and his girl squad pass around something suspicious while we get another dance montage. None of these people are dancing to the same music. He calls over Eva Six, who plays Ava the waitress. She's like a combination of Marilyn Monroe and Ava Gabor, which, like, you only need to be one of those things to be hot in my book. Frankie executes the initial stages of his plan to make Dee Dee jealous by pushing her away, and he asks Ava to dance. And of course, the director makes sure that we only see the important parts of Ava. Frankie dances with Ava while Annette prays that Frankie mistakes super glue for clear eyes. So our antagonists pull up. They're apparently a motorcycle gang led by Eric Von Zipper, played by Harvey Lembeck. Their little gang is called the Rats. They show up at the same time as Professor Sutwell, who's talking to his watch about his experiment.
Any moment I shall try for my first contact. This is always difficult.
Wait, did Beach Party invent the Apple Watch? And we get another dance sequence. While Annette looks on super annoyed, she's probably upset no one gave her the memo about wearing red or blue in this scene. It's at this point it occurs to me that we are a half hour into this hour-and-a-half movie and not a single thing has actually happened yet. Decides to leave, but on her way out, she slips and lands on Eric Von Zipper's lap. Eric decides that Dee Dee is now his, but Professor Sutwell steps in and rescues Dee Dee, and he does this thing where he Saved by the Bells Eric Von Zipper with his finger. And that does it for Dee Dee. He saved her life, and he's tall. He tells her his name is Robert Oral Sutwell. It's at this point I realize his name wasn't Oro. It was his initials R.O. And I was calling him Oro. So his name is Oral. Oral tells Dee Dee that she's his first contact, and she thinks that he's telling her that he's a virgin, and then informs him that she wants him to be her first contact too. Frankie and his homegirls are ear hustling to the whole conversation. Like, what happens to Ava, Frankie? Keep that same energy. Oral invites Dee Dee back to his place the next day at noon, and Dee Dee is ecstatic. She's never let someone get to second base that early in the day before. Frankie kisses Ava in front of Dee Dee, while Dee Dee chills with her army of forgotten men, including Frankie's friends. I'm not really above dating my ex's friends, or dating one of my friend's exes. Last I checked, trash picking wasn't illegal. Annette meets up with Oral where she shits on his outfit, as if she wasn't wearing the same thing the day before. He says that the things he wears were gifts from the places he traveled to. And much like the penis that my friend drew on my windshield, they're good conversation pieces. Later that night, Ava gets upset that Frankie can't get it up, so she storms off and decides to join Eric Von Zipper. Eric decides he wants to get Professor Sutwell back for fingering him, so the gang goes to his house to beat him up, only he mistakenly goes into Dee Dee's house.
I can't see nothing.
Is that a chicken? Wait, what is that?
Hey, did you hear a scream?
It's just Dolores, that man.
Okay, girl, are you going to check on her? Professor Sutwell hears her screaming and goes to save her and is discovered in her room. Mary Ann starts to feel jealous of them. Oral says he's there just for research, but he's starting to become one of the teenagers.
Look at that outfit.
Well, what's wrong with it? It's part of my research. Oh, Marianne.
Wait, did Mean Girls rip off Beach Party?
Oh, hello. Hello, Dolores. Sit down, relax. I'll be right with you.
You give an ugly man a chance and he starts treating you like you're the ugly one. Frankie and the Chipmunks storm Oral's hut and find his research papers.
Yeah? He's putting us down. Yeah. And as to their sexual activities, it seems...
Frankie is ready to Vaseline up his face and tell Deadhead to hold his earrings. They're all upset when they realize they're a part of the study. At that point, Professor Sutwell and Marianne have already flown the coup. They head to Big Daddy's, where there's a huge standoff. Frankie and Professor Sutwell make up for the sole reason of progressing the plot. Frankie and the Pussycats form a human shield around Professor Sutwell and Marianne to protect them from the gang. And the rats have no clue how to break this chain. Eventually, a fight breaks out along with pie throwing, and Frankie accidentally hits Dee Dee in the face with pie. And they both laugh because they know it's the only time Frankie's going to be allowed to cream Annette's face. So everyone eventually gets what they want. Eric learns how to do the finger move and fingers himself. Deadhead invents the mannequin challenge. Oral tells Marianne his next stop is the Mariana Islands, which is a weird phrase for Marianne's ovaries. Frankie and Annette are back together again, and Big Daddy is revealed to be Vincent Price. Maury Amsterdam actually gave a story on Big Daddy, but it wasn't that important, to be honest. William Asher said that these movies were all skin and no sex, which is how they were able to market them. They were able to sell a lot of sex, but everyone's virginity remained intact. For the most part, these movies are just good, clean fun. On a scale of 1 to WAP, I give it a Britney Spears circa 1999. William Asher also commented that this movie was a little hard to shoot because of Bob Cummings' addiction to methamphetamines. According to Annette, the movie had a budget of $300,000 and was shot within 3 weeks. It became AIP's highest grossing movie ever and would go on to spawn many, many sequels and inspire many, many other beach movies, including Ski Party, Pajama Party, Muscle Beach Party, Psycho Beach Party, and of course, Horn Dog's Beach Party Uncensored, which I didn't know existed until I did research for this film. Next up is Muscle Beach Party, which was probably named so that the graphics people could just reuse all of the Beach Party movie posters. The swimsuits were provided by Deweese of California. Marianne Deweese was the designer of these suits, and I love all of them. All of them feel very unique, like they were crafted for that individual person. I looked online and I saw a bunch of vintage ones. I'm trying to get my hands on one before the series ends. So this is it. This is the completed look. I'm a cute little 60s beach babe. So I noticed that Annette's makeup is usually very natural, and when I googled what 60s makeup looked like at the time, they said that they would smoke out one side with a dark color and then just add a white line and then eyeliner over it, which makes sense because even when I zoomed in, I couldn't really see that much makeup on her face. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please like it. If you loved it, please consider subscribing. Thank you so much. Bye.